Let's review some of the basics that we covered in the first week of the Excel series at the Evanston Public Library. I'm demonstrating this on Excel for the Mac, but the concepts are the same for Excel on a Windows machine. Let's first start by practicing entering some sample data in your worksheet. You can enter text, numbers, or a combination of either. So in this case, I'm entering some text, I'm entering some numbers, and I'm entering a combination of text and numbers. Notice the name box up here on the left-hand side. The name box always reflects the cell where your cursor is currently positioned. It's a great way to orient yourself to where you are in your workbook at any given time. Excel has over 16,000 columns going this way to the right, and it has over 1 million rows going to the bottom. You can use the scroll bars in the application window or your up, down, left, right arrows on your keyboard to move across columns or down rows. Because Excel has so many rows and columns, it's unlikely that you would ever run out of space for your data. However, you may want to organize it into different worksheets. To do so, you can add worksheets down here at the bottom of the application window. To add a worksheet, all you have to do is click on the plus sign on the Mac or on a Windows machine. It's a little folder with a star. You can add as many worksheets as you'd like, although more than 13 starts to be a little cumbersome. I can click on each worksheet and I can name it uniquely. So in this case, I'm going to use months, which is a fairly common way to organize your worksheets. All I'm doing is double-clicking in here and typing. The name can be a combination of upper and lowercase, but it must be unique. If I cannot have 2 Januaries, for example. Next, let's move to the formula bar. So the formula bar is this area up here above your active worksheet. So it's always going to be above the column labels. To click into the formula bar, simply click your mouse, your left mouse once, and the formula bar becomes active. Notice that any changes or anything I enter in the formula bar will be placed into the cell A1. You can tell that the formula bar is active because the green check mark and the red X are visible. If I want to add some content, for example, in this cell, I can type and then click the green check mark and the content in cell A1 will update. If, for example, in cell C1, I want to delete some content, I can select the content, hit a backspace, and then hit my green check mark. And that will update the content. Let's suppose that I actually start entering some content. So now I'm in cell E1, and then I don't like what I have typed for whatever reason. I can simply hit the red X, and that cancels the work I have been doing. Frequently, as beginner users, you may encounter the situation where you are active in the formula bar and your commands are grayed out. This can be confusing because you don't understand why you can't access some of your commands, in fact, most of your commands. If this happens to you, the first thing is to check whether your formula bar is active. The way you check that is you see if you can see the green check mark and the red X. If you can, you must complete this action either by hitting the green check mark or the red X to deactivate the formula bar. The formula bar is inactive when these are grayed out. And notice that all the commands come back and are now available. This is a great segue into the ribbon. So the ribbon is this area here above the formula bar that contains many commands. Above that are the individual tabs. This is going to look slightly different on a Windows machine, but not significant enough at this point for us to worry about. Practice clicking on each of these tabs so that you feel comfortable looking at each tab. Notice that the commands change in each tab. We're going to be focused on the Home tab for Excel Basics, but it is good to feel comfortable navigating around in Excel. The ribbon is designed to be read from left to right, so the most popular commands are always going to be on the left-hand side, and you're going to read from left to right. That means for you as a novice user, if you're looking for a command, start methodically searching on the Home tab, going from left to right. The odds are that you will find it much more quickly if you look with a method rather than randomly clicking on tabs to find something. For our Excel Basics class, we're going to be staying mostly on the Home tab. Finally, let's talk about saving your file. On a Windows machine, you're going to see a tab up here that says File. On an Excel machine, there's a tab that says File at the very top. You're going to click on that, and you're going to choose Save. Now, on a Windows machine, this particular window will look slightly different, and yours, of course, will look different than mine. But for the purposes of what we're doing here, it's the same. So notice that the default version is XLSX. That is the latest version of Excel. If you are working with someone who has an earlier version of Excel, a much earlier version of Excel, you may need to do what's called downsaving to XLS. If someone, for example, says, I can't open the file that you sent, the first thing to do is ask them what version of Excel they're using. And if they're using something that is older than 2007, then you're going to want to downsave into an XLS format. The next most likely format that you're going to encounter is what's called a comma-separated values format. And all that means is that the data that's in the file is separated by commas. You're most likely to encounter this if you are downloading data from a database on the internet, but you may also be asked to export your data in a CSV format for someone else. In both cases, all you have to do is save the file. If you're asked to export, save the file in a CSV format. If you receive a CSV format file, all you need to do is open Excel and open the file. It will convert to an Excel file. And finally, of course, there's the PDF, which we're all familiar with. And that ends this brief tutorial. I look forward to seeing you guys next week in the Excel for Beginners class at the Evanston Public Library. Have a great day.